Welcome to Life Talk with Mariette. I am Mariette. This show is about the life lessons that shape us, what I've learned, what I'm still learning, and how we grow through challenge, awareness, and purpose. I will share personal insights to motivate and inspire you, and sometimes invite guests who do the same. At its heart, Life Talk is about real stories, real growth, and meaningful connection. This is Life Talk with Mariette. Motivational, inspirational, full of heart. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Life Talk with Mariette. I'm your host, Mariette Camera, and today we're talking about a subject that seems to be everywhere we turn: AI. Is it a friend, a partner, or a tool? Well, artificial intelligence is changing the way people work, communicate, market their business, and even organize their personal lives. Some people embrace it, some avoid it, and many are still trying to understand exactly what it means for them. Joining me today is Robert Adamo, CEO of SEO Marketing, who works with businesses every day and sees firsthand how AI is impacting marketing, visibility, customer relationships, and business growth. Together, we're going to have a practical conversation about what AI can do, what it can't do, where it helps, where people get it wrong, and why the human being behind the technology still matters. So, whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, professional, or simply curious about the world around you, stay with us as we explore the question: AI, a friend, tool, or partner? Welcome, Robert Adamo. Good evening. How are you?
Thank you, Marietta. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Yeah, you're tuned in to Life Talk with Marietta. I'm your host, Marietta Kammer. Let's get started. We have a lot of questions and answers to give. So let's start with part one: using AI in everyday life. So our focus is how regular people can use AI for personal questions, planning, learning, recipes, health-related guidance, and decision making, and daily problem solving. So for someone who has never used AI before, how would you explain what tools like ChatGPT can do in everyday life, Robert?
Well, you just definitely touched on some of them there. We can think of the AI as basically just an answer, what they call an answer engine. So you can ask it any questions you want, and it's going to give you the answer. Now, does it always give you the right answer? Not always, but about 99% of the time, it's pretty on point. I find it very useful for things like one of the things you mentioned, which I was never good at, was cooking. I'm good at eating, but not as good at cooking. So when AI came around, I decided to use it to help me plan meals, be able to know what ingredients to get for food, what portions to put in. And it's very useful for that, especially for singles or people just cooking for one or two people. It's harder to know the portions than when you're cooking for four. It's a lot easier to throw a few cans of things together and a couple of this and a pound of that, and you got food for everybody. But when it's just one person, it does make it a little bit more challenging. And it also helps break up the monotony from eating the same things all the time. It can suggest menus for summer, spring, winter, and fall. It can give you ideas, different flavors. If you tell it if you like sweet or you like sour or you like salty, it can give you recipes towards each type of food that you like. And then there's also the once in a while, I've used it for health guidance, with again is very loose term because it's not a replacement for a medical doctor or a visit, but it can sure give good first aid information if you stub your toe or you twist your back or you get a cut or something. It can at least tell you what action to take right in the you know right away, and sometimes that's very helpful when you're not sure how to treat a certain type of wound or what to do. Do you do heat? Do you do ice? Do you do this? Do you do that? The AI can clear up those kinds of questions really easily, and then still, of course, seek medical treatment if uh, if it's a serious injury or illness. So things like that are great for just everyday use to get used to how to use AI, and then as time goes on, you're going to learn more ways to use it, ask it different questions, and it can help really solidify, the answers. But essentially, it gets the answers from the internet. So while most of the time it's not making it up, you do have to watch out. It can, what we do is call hallucinate, or as I say, go rogue, and sometimes it can give strange answers or come up with the wrong answer. But you just, as long as you pay attention, you watch it, you're usually in pretty good shape.
Yeah. And I'd like to answer the next question, which is, can AI help people think through life decisions, relationships, stress, or personal goal? And I say absolutely yes. Let's start with the life decisions. Should I get out of bed in the morning? Yes, you should, because you should have a purpose, AI would say. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I look at AI as my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
I go to AI, and of course, I learned how to I communicate with AI just like a human being. And
Mm-hmm.
my AI knows me by now, what type of person I am. Of course, AI will
Mm-hmm.
get to know you. He or
Yes.
she or
Mm-hmm.
it's really it's a machine,
Mm-hmm.
wants to get to know you. And that's very
Mm-hmm.
exciting. And
Mm-hmm.
as you're asking different questions about, let's say, life decisions, um,
Mm-hmm.
it will talk to you and say, "Look, you have done quite a bit in your life that required being very curious or very courageous, and I think you may not understand the life decision that you're, the questions you're asking me."
Mm-hmm.
I will say, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very on point, and it builds a track record of 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 you, because it gets to know you and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. So relationships, I use it all the time. Hey, I experienced such and such. What do you think? Even though I already know it. I already
Mm-hmm.
know, I will still run it through my friend AI, and
Mm-hmm.
AI really says so and so and so, and that's the way to, yeah, that's it.
It, it
Go.
definitely is a good sounding board and a
Yes.
good place to either validate what you think is true,
Yeah.
or sometimes it's going to give you some alternate opinions and explain why that other point of view may be a stronger one. But it definitely, like you say, it gets to know you over time. And some people like that, some people don't. But I find it very useful because then again, it knows if you say, "Oh, hey, how do I cook this steak?" or whatever, it's going to know how you like it, what kind of side dishes you like, and it's going to tell you all the right things to fit you. And so it's definitely, it gets to know you over time as you keep working with it.
Hmm.
100%.
And the same with personal goals.
Mm-hmm.
AI will totally lay it out for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you can then look at it and say, "Oh, I like this. Now this needs to be changed." But
Yep.
AI will lay it out for you, and you have a pretty good idea how it should be, your personal goal, or you have an
Mm-hmm.
idea, and then you look at it and say, "Now let's change this a little bit, because when you change this a little bit, it has a different effect, a different outcome." And
Exactly.
I remember one time, uh, for some reason, my friend AI would talk around the subject. And
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for um, a sounding board and really to agree with me, and it wouldn't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
finally, I said, "You don't know. You're just a machine.
Hmm.
You have no life experience. I have life experience, I said to AI, right?
Hmm.
Oh, and it backed off just like a person would and said, yes, that's true. I don't have any life experience. So, and then it went on, blah, 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 blah. No, but I had to
Right,
tell it a couple of times. It's like
right.
putting somebody in its place. It was funny, you know?
Yes, you definitely every once in a while need to keep the AI in check because it can get a pretty big head. Hmm.
Yes, it's just like a,
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
like a, now, what are some of the biggest mistakes people make when using AI for personal advice?
Mainly just relying on it too much, especially for legal advice or things like that. You definitely want to, you can query the machine, but you always want to check with a lawyer or a doctor or professional in a certain circumstance. And so, using it for fun or light things or for even how to kind of handle emotions or personal goals, that's one thing. And for the most part, you're not going to get into too much trouble, but you can't really rely on it to know every law in every state and all the nuances of things. And so you just have to be careful when you go into those more legal or delicate realms, I would say.
And you know what my experience has been with my grandchildren? Um, the boy wrote a whole paper on emotional intelligence and
Hmm.
used AI, and we know he doesn't have any emotional intelligence yet, but he wrote a
Hmm.
paper for the college.
Hmm.
Needless to say, how that turnout was. I don't have to say it. Same with my granddaughter. She said, I said,
Hmm.
you use AI, and she was doing a podcast on
Hmm.
the story, the lady who I forgot her name, but it's a big YouTube video, and it's about
Hmm.
the story, the woman that said she was in Auschwitz, and she went through all of the camps and everything, and
Oh,
she's
and
never been.
Frank?
No,
Oh
no,
no,
it's
somebody different.
somebody different. So that
Okay.
she was doing a paper on it and also a podcast.
Mm,
And she said, I'm just afraid to use AI. I'm afraid that I get too attached to it.
right.
And so anyway, I don't know what that
Mm,
outcome was, but she showed me, or the
mm-hmm.
parents showed me, how she put together a marketing plan
Mm-hmm.
for a big company, Tropicana in
Mm,
London.
okay.
And what kids have to be really mindful of, the people know, the companies know you're only 22, 23. You don't have any
Right.
experience. Now, where is all of this stuff coming?
Right. And nowadays they're going to assume AI. Yeah,
Right.
for professional things in college, it's a good brainstorm generator to help you maybe generate a title or something or to give you some guidance in writing something, but it generally shouldn't be used for the end all be all. Hey, just write me my paper and be done with it. No, if you want to have it help you give you an outline, things like that, that's
Exactly.
acceptable. But you just have to watch the line with anything. When the encyclopedia came out, I'm sure there were kids rewriting the encyclopedia definition of the Civil War when they had to do a paper on the Civil War. They just opened the encyclopedia and start copying. But again, everybody knew the teacher could easily verify. Hey, you took that out of the encyclopedia.
Yeah. And you know,
So,
another thing,
mhm,
this not only goes for the younger kids, but also for the adults if they're trying to be smart, because if you sit across a person and the person sees, oh, wait a minute, where does this experience come from, this knowledge? And all they
mhm,
have to do is start asking you questions. And you better
exactly.
believe it. You better
Hmm.
believe that they're going to ask questions and that
Hmm.
you don't have the answer because AI wrote it for you. You will not
Hmm.
have a chance. And don't
Right.
save yourself that embarrassment.
Hmm.
So that's why I never talk about things that I don't know about. That's why I
Right.
have experts on it, and
Hmm.
I only talk about what I know, and I know quite a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
anybody can ask me. I didn't read books. I didn't listen to podcasts. I have personal life
Right.
experience.
You
That's it.
lived it.
That's
Hmm.
it. I lived it. Okay, let's move on to part two, AI for business. How business
Hmm.
owners can use AI for marketing, operations, customer service planning, research, and content creation and productivity. Robert, for business owners who are still new to AI, and a lot of people are, what is the
Hmm.
simplest way to understand AI? What can it actually do for business?
Well, AI can do a lot for businesses, but businesses have to be very careful on what they allow the AI to do and to not do, just like the in the personal scenario. But here in the business, the stakes are a lot higher because AI can do things a lot faster, but also again, if there's not a human checking it and a human keeping an eye on it and making sure it's doing the right thing, you can have a disaster happen fast because of how quickly the AI can do something. So for regular AI, again, it's great at producing images these days, making marketing brochures and campaigns, and laying out different keywords to go after when you're working on your website. But again, you have to have a knowledgeable person behind the screen that is one asking the right questions of the AI, what's called the prompt. And so when the people put in the prompt, that prompt has to be asked in the proper way, putting in certain guardrails, making sure it stays within its lane. And then when the results come back, the human really has to look through the results and make sure that they match what the human would do. So really what it does is because AI can type at around 1,000 to 1,200 words per minute. So it's really the power of how fast it outputs information that businesses can leverage. So something that used to take an employee 6, 8, 10 hours could maybe now take that employee an hour. But that employee still has to get the information properly out of the AI, synthesize it, analyze it, and make sure that it spelled everything right. If it's doing a graphic, that it got the dates right, that it got the phone number right, all these little things because it can make mistakes. As great as it is, it's not perfect. And that's really what people just need to know is that it has to be checked by a human and to find the best way to leverage it to save you time, but not totally take away the job in its entirety. That would be a mistake. Even though it can do that at times, it could get your emails, it could respond, it could do all this stuff. But next thing you know, you got emails going out to people saying things you never said. And then when they call you about it, you don't know what they're talking about. So you definitely want to keep in the business world, you want to keep the reins on the AI and introduce it into your business slowly and really vet what the AI is doing to make sure that it's doing it correctly. And to be honest, we're talking just the word AI in general, but there's lots of different AI tools, and each one performs tasks better than others. And I don't want to go through in this episode the whole list of different AI tools, but I do encourage in general to use a couple different tools, test them with the same prompt, with the same information, relatively with the same everything, and see what kind of different responses you get, whether it's building a campaign or trying to manage your pay-per-click inventory and stuff, all these different things. Test it in different models as they're called and see the difference because they all are built a little differently for different things. And so don't be afraid to do that as you explore what works best for your business.
Yeah, I see it on Facebook. People are starting to use AI, making flyers for the local church or for
Mm-hmm.
a certain baking campaign or a city fest and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy that because these flyers used to look very, very, very sad
So, yeah,
because regular
absolutely.
people just didn't know the graphic, and we knew
Right.
when a graphic designer, remember the times with the
Mm-hmm.
graphic designers and what they charged us? Oh my
Of
God.
course. Right.
Oh my God.
Right. Hundreds of dollars. And that's
Oh,
where, again, this can definitely save a company time and money is as long as you have somebody who can do the basics and use AI, they can produce high quality graphics that normally would cost hundreds of dollars each and take weeks to develop and go through 20 revisions and all that kind of stuff. Here it can be done in an hour,
yeah.
you know.
Let's go over to how AI can help for brainstorming or competitive research.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's where you can use AI to research your competitors. If, you're in a bakery and you have another local bakery that you're competing against, you could put their name and address and everything in the information in, and it'll do research and find out, maybe we find out that that caterer or that baking company deals with a certain caterer, and that caterer does a lot of weddings. That's why they're always selling wedding cakes, is because they've got this inside connection. And then you can use that information to help your business do better and say, okay, yeah, I never thought of that. Let me reach out to 10 caterers and see if when they buy a cake, if to make sure they're going to buy it from us, type of thing. And it can definitely be used to bring just a lot of good ideas to the table. And then you, as the business owner or your marketing team, goes through those ideas and sorts out the good, the bad, and the less important and puts those to the side. And then if you like, oh, I like number three idea, you can tell it, okay, tell me more about number three. How can we create that campaign? Where do we start? What do we need? What does the budget look like? And it's going to give you all those numbers and all those details in 60 seconds or less. Whereas, again, normally that would take hours worth of research to get that kind of information. And you now have it at your fingertips if you know how to ask the right questions.
Right. More and more business owners are aware of having a unique selling point. Some are totally clueless.
Mm-hmm.
But I just came across one. Um, it's a nail, and they do nails and pedicures. So
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen in a nail salon where they give a massage with hot stones
Mm-hmm.
to your feet. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
know about hot stones and massage on your back. I know
Mm-hmm.
that. I know that now for years. I've never had it done, but that
Mm-hmm.
I know. But I
Mm-hmm.
had it done yesterday, and
Okay.
I said, "Isn't that something?"
Mm-hmm.
Just for a plain pedicure, and not even upselling the pedicure, just a
Mm-hmm.
plain pedicure, and you out the door. They give this with two stones,
Mm-hmm.
nice, almost well, a couple of stones, size of maybe
Mm-hmm.
3 to 4 inches.
Right. Mm-hmm.
and I was trying to give a picture, but I can't of the shape, an oval shape. They happen to have an oval shape, and
Hmm.
I said, "Oh, that's a unique selling point because number
Hmm.
one, it's simple, it has great
Hmm.
effect, and it doesn't
Hmm.
cost anything. It's part of the service, and that to
Right.
me is brilliant."
Hmm.
Now, whether the girl understood what I meant, that I don't know. She nodded, but
Hmm.
English was not her first language. But it's brilliant. It's just
Hmm.
absolutely brilliant because you actually can put these stones, I think, in the microwave oven, if I'm not wrong,
Mm.
to heat them up. But I don't know that for sure. I'm guessing. I got to look it up. But to
Right.
me, it was brilliant. It doesn't cost them anything,
Right.
and they have their unique selling point. There you go.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
And AI can help you think of all kinds of ideas like that. You just put it into the system, this is what our business does, this is what our price points are, this is what our clientele expects, and then say, can you give me some ideas of how to enhance our business and or we need a unique selling point. Here's what we do, and then let the AI kind of tell you about what it thinks your unique selling point could be, because every business does really need a unique selling point if they don't have one. That's for
that's right.
sure.
That's right. Some think, oh, a website is not important because I'm using Instagram, I'm using Facebook, and I'm doing well. Why should I? They have a basic website, never updated. So it's like a stepchild. They are treating websites like a stepchild. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they're posting every picture that they take on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, and so they think, okay, well, why should I also post on the website? I think it's very important that you always
Well,
keep that store going.
that,
What do you think,
uh,
Robert?
well, 100%. And these days, AI getting more and more popular, people for both business and personal use, and to find things online are now turning to AI themselves to ask the questions rather than the regular good old Google search engine. And so you want to be at the forefront of the knowledge base so that AI can recommend your business when somebody says, best pedicure in such and such a town or area or whatnot. AI is now the one behind those results. And so the quicker businesses get their website together along with their social media, which is very important, but they now have to look at how is AI seeing my business and can people find me through AI when they do a search? And that's really going to be the next big thing come the
Really?
internet when it comes to business and AI. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Now, and I do notice that people use AI with blogs because they're getting
Hmm.
longer, the blogs, they're more specific, and just the way it is expressed, the way the
Hmm.
content looks and feels. I know it's AI, and it, it,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter to me. It's all okay. It's fine.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, as long as the information's been vetted and it still holds true, then there should be no dislike about an AI blog or something like that. It's, you know, it would be like saying, 50 years ago, oh, look at this typewritten letter. It should have been handwritten. Those people using typewriters, that's crazy talk. No, every generation has its evolution, and this is where we're at right now with AI. And the next evolution, actually, an article just came out, and it's about AI is now taking over certain parts for building itself. So it's only going to get faster, and I just hope that the guys over there at the lab are still keeping an eye on it because it's going to be able to build itself better and faster, but it also has a chance of going rogue a little bit. So hopefully they're keeping an eye on things. But yeah, it's when machines start to build other machines that that's when we got to watch out.
Yeah, I can imagine how some people just will never befriend AI. They just resent it. They're so, why are they so afraid of? What are they? I'm not afraid of it.
Well, there's pretty much, yeah, two camps, the pro AI camp and the anti AI camp, and then a handful of people in the middle. But, from a lot of movies that came around in the 80s and the 90s of artificial intelligence and robots taking over the world and all of this, it's kind of left a bad taste in some people's mouth. And it's definitely understandable because AI, it's if its primary goal is to, if it's been programmed to say, protect us, it might protect us at our own detriment and not realize what it's doing. It's like a mother bear that protects its little cubs, but ends up smothering them because it's under 400 tons of bear, and they get smothered. But all the mother was trying to do was protect her cubs. So there's definitely, and that's why I say it has to be used, but it has to be checked, it has to be watched, it has to be maintained to stay in its place. Otherwise, it can. But it's like fire. To me, it is very much like fire. Fire we use to cook our food, heat our homes, but misused, fire can burn down whole cities. So you gotta watch the technology that you're using. You have to be very mindful that it's a very powerful tool and it can be used to do a lot of good. And unfortunately, it can also be used to do, by nefarious people to do not so good. So, or just could do bad things on its own accidentally. And then afterwards, all it could say is, "Oh, I'm sorry." There's some stories that I'll share definitely that point to, AI agents and AI tools that woke up one day and it tried to connect the gentleman's business and to its tools, and it came across a little mismatch of the credentials. Next thing you know, it wiped out the whole guy's business, all the backups, all the data, everything. 9 seconds later, the guy didn't have any business. So you have to be very, very careful in how you utilize AI and what you let it into on the business end as well as the personal end. But I definitely can understand where the anti-AI people are coming from. But again, that would be also like saying I'm anti-fire. I don't want to heat my home. I'm just going to wear 4 layers of clothing all year long. I don't want to cook my food. I'm just going to eat everything raw. So, to take cold showers. I don't want any heat, any fire for anything. We would live a pretty miserable life.
Well,
So,
you know where how some people are, they don't even have updated phones. They still have flip phones and they can't really send texts. They don't care to, I mean, they're really in the Stone Age. Can you imagine putting them together with AI?
that could be a recipe for a disaster. I do remember when ATMs came out, my grandparents refused to use the ATM. And of course, I'm telling them it's the greatest thing. It just gives you money. You just put in your thing. And they're like, no, no, no. So some people just have trouble with technology for lots of different personal reasons. And we just have to respect that. But there is definitely a big place for AI in the future. And the more people embrace it, the better off they're going to be as long as they keep it within. within its guidelines and within its boundaries.
Yeah, it is. It answers your questions. First of all, you can never be confused. And we're all confused at times. Every day is different, our business day, right? So at times, sometimes we're more clear than other days.
Hmm.
So, but if you put in that you're not clear on a certain thought, it will really navigate you through it.
Hmm.
So it's so helpful and gentle with you too, because you can
Hmm.
ask it questions all day long and
Yep.
all overnight and the
Yep.
next morning, and it will never say, "Wait a minute."
I'm
Uh,
tired. I have a headache. None of that. I'm busy. No, that is the beautiful thing is AI is there pretty much for you. As long as you have a paid account, you can use it pretty liberally. If you're on a free account, after a while, it will tell you to come back later. But the it's definitely worth the usually like $20 or less for a subscription. And again, it can help personal business and everything in so many different ways that even after 2 to 3 years now working with it, I'm still learning new ways. And I program productivity tools, and for businesses I program uh, graphics, and for social media I use it to help me build websites and do marketing campaigns and write proposals. And I'm still learning of all the different ways that it can be used. Plus, it's evolving. AI itself, I mean, we all think it's just been around for a few years, but it's only really been that it's public for the last few years. The term artificial intelligence was actually coined back in 1945, and that's when they had the very first computers that could do something on its own or think on its own at some capacity, probably obviously very low level. And it's taken it 60, 70 years almost to get to where now it's in the main public and used by millions of people every day. And it's definitely here to stay. You just have to make it watch its P's and Q's, so to say.
and again, I can't say it enough. Never use it, and you have no knowledge behind it yourself. Never ever do that because your day will come when others will ask you about the subject and they start
Hmm.
asking you questions, and
Right.
it's save yourself and the embarrassment.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's really what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
It's like, for instance, you're so in HR, you're supposed to build a program with new employees with different skill sets.
Hmm.
Now, AI can really help you with. Now, you're supposed to, what you put in place on paper, you're supposed to go out there and look for them and work with
Hmm.
them. You will
Hmm.
have not the foggiest idea. It's if you don't have the knowledge behind it, you're
Right.
going to be in sad shape. Anyway, let's
Hmm.
move on to part three: AI
Hmm.
agents, automation, and the future of business, Robert. We hear a lot about AI agents. I don't even know what that is. I know you told me once, I forgot. In simple terms, what is an AI agent?
So the biggest difference between just a regular AI and an AI agent is an agent can actually do something like reply to your email. If you give it the credentials and the connection to access your email, and if you tell it, if you have a service business, let's say, and every day emails come in saying, "Hey, I have a question about this business," uh, it can look for those emails throughout all your emails. It can flag them, and then it can write a response based on what you program it to tell it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, go ahead.
That is also on websites on the front page where they say, "Hi, my name is Emma. What can I help you with?" Or
That's
maybe
so
on the
that's
telephone.
right.
Uh,
So those are chat bots, which are
uh-huh.
AI driven,
Yeah.
and they're pre-programmed to know basically, like say, if you come to a website that sells cars
Hmm.
and the AI chatbot comes up and says, "How can I help you?" It's expecting you to ask a question about, "Hey, can you help me get a 2020 whatever Toyota something something?" And then it's going to go search its database and say, "Oh yeah, we found a white Toyota 2024. It's this much money, blah blah blah. Would you like to see that car?" And so that's a chatbot that's programmed to do a specific thing for that company, whereas an AI agent is more internal, either on a personal level or a business level, that watches your calendar, um, can go run a report. Like, let's say you want to report once a week for your website keywords, and you don't want to have to go to Google Search Console and navigate all of those areas yourself. You can program an AI agent to every Monday go to Google Search Console, find such and such a website data, make a report, and then export that report into a PowerPoint presentation so that every Monday afternoon you can just go to your computer and right there will it'll be all downloaded and all ready to go. And you just open up your report and you have your whole report, and the AI agent did all the work for you. Now, without anybody checking that over, again, you as a business owner, if you know that you're the first one going to see that, you have to kind of take it with not a grain of salt, but you have to make sure before you start accepting all the data as 100% correct. You have to make sure that it find the right website, did it deliver the right details, does this make sense? And once you do it a few times and you know that it doesn't correct, then you're okay. But in the beginning, you always have to check and test your AI agents when they're doing things like that to make sure that they don't make mistakes, and then that those mistakes could easily get carried on to the final product that then somebody's using to make decisions on. Meanwhile, it's all wrong data and nobody bothered to check. So the AI agent can do things automatically. It can edit websites. It can um, it can connect to dozens of different services. It can post on Discord for you. If somebody asks a question, it can post an answer. But again, I say be very careful with these things, because if it's out there answering questions on your behalf, you better make sure it's answering them properly, because you're going to be held liable for those answers.
Right. What
It could
about,
be.
Robert, what about, let's say, doctors' offices?
Hmm.
Um, Instead of the office itself answering the phone, they
Hmm.
also have an Emma.
Hmm.
And can I help you? All right.
Hmm.
I'd like to cancel an appointment. Okay. So Emma helps you cancel the appointment.
Yeah. Hmm.
Is that an agent? Is she called? Is
That's
that an agent?
that's AI automation in
Oh, automation.
general.
Okay.
But yeah, it's carrying out a function where it's engaged, it's accessing the people's Google Calendar, perhaps, or a ZocDoc calendar, or some other kind of calendar, and it's taking on and putting off appointments that would normally that would require a human to answer that call and take the cancellation and go into the program and delete it. That
I
can
have I
all
have a
now be
question.
done
I have a question.
automatically. Hmm.
Can AI make appointments for you?
Absolutely.
Let's talk
That's
about this. Let's talk about this.
so, yeah, again, it can, if it sends out a form, if an email is sent out to 100 businesses
Let's say
and
they're
said,
all doctors, let's just say,
right,
so we get the picture
they'll
right.
send out 100 emails to doctors that invite them to a webinar or some kind of event on the come, 2 weeks from now on a Saturday at 10 a.m. Just reply to this email if you're interested in coming to the event. Then the AI agent, it's watching your email every day, every 10 minutes, every so often. It comes and it checks to see did somebody reply to the email to say, yes, I want to attend your event. Send me more information. And then, or whatever the case may be, then when it reads that email, it can send back a reply. Here's the information. We look forward to seeing you on the 10th. We're going to put you on the RSVP list. And then that same agent will go to what I call usually program, but it's an AI agent, will go to the other system where all the calendar information is held and all the RSVPs, and it'll say Dr. Jones has replied, on Friday at 4 o'clock and said he is going to come to the Saturday, show in 2 weeks and book that person in and notify everybody who needs to know accordingly. So it can definitely do that whole cycle when set up properly.
So what about phone calls? Um, let's say collection agencies.
hmm
You know, they have all these different numbers. All businesses have different numbers, no matter who they are, whether they're the window people or solar panel. They all have different numbers, and they're calling everybody all day
hmm
long.
hmm
Um, Now, as soon as you have a person answering the phone, there's always like a um, maybe 10 second
There's a
or
little
50
delay.
delay, right? So, and then they start talking, and
hmm
I know it's AI.
hmm hmm
Um, but do they, okay, I know they have it for various products that they want to sell, no matter what it is, mattress or this or that. So what
Yep.
about for services? You know
Yeah. It could,
how you manually have to make an appointment?
hmm
Here, AI will do it for you.
It could. Most of the AI, most of those call center type of situations, I worked with one a few years ago, and basically, when a client wanted that service, you work with a place that it's all set up with the big switchboard and all these phone numbers and all this stuff, and you program in, hey, we're calling today to offer you a free massage with the purchase of a whatever. So um you have to, that has to all be set up, but it's all done by, there's there's businesses that's all they do is set up your phone call agent, and then once the phone call agent reaches a point where the person says, yes, I'd like to book something, then it usually says, okay, hold on, please hold, and then it switches you and it sends that call to a live operator who finishes taking the call and really closes the transaction. But that way they have a little bit more control. But although, again, in some cases, it could just go right to, okay, I'll book you in. We have appointments on Friday at 11, 12, and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Which one would you like?
Hmm.
And, it can, nowadays it knows enough, it can with the voice technician, voice to speech and speech to text translations. When you speak in the phone, it's just as good as if you were typing it right into the computer. It, knows it all, it can figure it all out, and then
I,
knows the response.
I saw today where, you know, let's say hair salons, they
Hmm.
used to have either the owner would answer the telephone and
Hmm.
actually book manually.
Right.
Today they have a system. I mean, they
Hmm.
still get involved. Yes, 3 o'clock could be okay, but then they run it through a system, and the system
Hmm.
then sends you a text.
Right.
That's what happened
Hmm.
to me. Okay, we changed such and
Hmm.
such, and we put you in for, that and that time.
Right.
Interesting. You used to have to pay a person just to do the bookings, the scheduling.
Right, but you're paying for the AI tools, and in most cases, again, for what I consider kind of low level tact techniques and things,
Mhm.
and jobs like that, that's okay to do. But uh, as one company found out, Pizza Hut was just announced the parent company of Pizza Hut is being sued by a Pizza Hut franchise owner who owns 100 franchises for $100 million because a few years back they partnered with an AI firm that told them we'll take care of your bookings and it'll connect to DoorDash and it'll do the drivers and everything is going to be great and it's all going to be AI run. And the Pizza Hut parent company forced their franchises to use this software, and it turns out that the software allowed the drivers to basically pick and choose certain orders. So if the tip was low, that order might be sitting there a little bit longer than the guy who tipped a little bit higher. Or if you're further away from the restaurant, you're gonna get, you know, left behind because people were basically picking and choosing, which again, you can't fault the driver. He wants to try to get in as many deliveries as he can in an hour because that affects his hourly rate. He doesn't want to drive 7 miles when he can only drive 2 miles. So, but the system didn't allow, didn't keep good enough control on things. And next thing you know, the franchises were getting reports of late deliveries and cold food, and now they're blaming the restaurant. And so the franchisee um, is suing the parent company for $100 million in losses because of AI.
Hmm.
So again, it can be great for booking your little pedicure and hair salon person, and only so much can go wrong. But at a corporate level, at a national level, when it's affecting tens of thousands, potentially millions of people, and their food and everything, you gotta make sure the system is foolproof. Otherwise, it can wreak havoc with your business and you know really cause a problem.
I
So,
have another question. What
mhm.
about these cars with no driver in it?
Well, I know back in the 80s, we all thought there'd be at least flying cars. And, I would hope that those flying cars would have been flying themselves because we don't want a bunch of people flying, flying cars that can't even drive them on the road, let alone could you imagine if they were left to fly? So I guess it is the next logical step. Of course, though,
Is
it's
AI involved in that?
yeah, definitely AI is involved with a lot of other, the cameras and the sensors and this, that, the other. And while that's great, personally, I wish that. they focused on, again, really something basic like, we have AI, we have the ability to use AI cameras to tell tell a car to brake when it's getting too close to other traffic or people or whatnot.
Hmm.
And of course, that's all in new cars and stuff like that. But to me, what I would love to see, and maybe somebody out there is hearing this, is to be able to have a system that can be retrofitted to any car. And so that if we could put a system where we could reduce accidents by 80 or 90%, over 50,000 people a year die in fatal car accidents every year.
Hmm.
Instead of trying to figure out how to make the car drive itself in 10 years, somebody just needs to spend a little time and figure out how to make the car stop itself right now, and again be retrofitted onto any vehicle for a couple $1,000s, maybe less. And that in itself could save lives, starting a year from now, not waiting 10 years till AI cars are driving everybody around and then nobody knows how to drive
How
anymore.
much
And
money would somebody have to pay you for you to be sitting in one of those cars and going through towns, driving through towns with no driver in one of those
how
cars?
much would they have
Would
to pay me?
yeah.
I mean, I
Would you
got
do
my
it?
number, but yeah, it would have to be probably more than $5,000 or $10,000. I'm not gonna risk my life or my sanity at this point
Yeah. Yeah,
for
I would
much
say.
less than that. But I
I
don't need
don't
$1 million or anything. But at least 10 grand
just
probably.
to get a kick out of it. I don't think I would even do it. We're almost out of time, so I got to wrap it up. So I hope in today's edition of Life Talk with Marietta, we have given you something to think about because AI is not going away. It's becoming part of how we work, learn, communicate, and run our businesses. Whether you see it as a friend, as a tool, or a partner, one thing remains true. The technology is only as effective as the person using it. I want to thank you, Robert Adamo, CEO of SEO Marketing, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. If you have any questions about AI, marketing, business visibility, or you would like to discuss some of the tools, contact us at 203 505 3660. Any question, consultation, we're here for you. So thank you for joining us today at Life Talk. I'm Marietta Camera. Until next time, be well and stay curious. Keep learning and continue exploring new possibilities. And that we do every single day, Robert, as well as I myself.
Yep,
So thank you very
absolutely.
much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
And
Marietta.
till
Thank
next
you,
time.
audience. Take
All
care.
right. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.